If you bought the DIY kit, what you should have received is two of the Morimoto fog lights with the custom brackets attached to them, a couple of special housing grommets, some heat shrink tubing, and the plugs for the Morimoto lights. So we're going to get started with the disassembly of your factory housings. It's going to be taking the lens off and pulling the chrome shroud out of it and taking out the adjuster mechanism. And then I'll show you reassembling all of that with these new Morimoto projector lights. So for this step, we're going to open up the stock fog light. Some people do this by putting the fog light in an oven and baking it at some temperature for a few minutes to soften up the glue. That makes me a little bit nervous. I kind of like just using a heat gun, blast a whole bunch of heat at it, and then pry the thing apart, and you can slowly add heat, where you need to, as you're disassembling it, instead of pulling it out of the oven and trying to break it all apart before it gets too cool and then having to put it back in the oven. So first thing to do, pull out this halogen light that pretty much throw that in the garbage and start blasting heat at it. I'm using this heat gun, using the high setting on it, and you'll see what amount of time it takes to heat it up enough. And be careful touching this thing with your bare hands. It does get pretty hot. Alright, it's softening up a little bit. It's still going to need some more heat. You do want to use plastic tools on this as much as you can. This is a glass lens, so using a metal screwdriver to pry could crack the glass, especially at the edge. Pretty big assortment of tools to use for this. It's always a little bit of a trick figuring out what works and what doesn't. it and go ahead and use a metal screwdriver. Again, you want to be really careful using a metal screwdriver just for fear of breaking the glass. If you use too much force here, you'll most definitely you will break it. Getting somewhere now. careful because the glass is going to be incredibly hot. There we go. And we're in. Okay, so with the lens off and out of the way, now we can disassemble the inside of this housing. So to get the reflector out, just push down the top of it. You're popping it out of that adjuster, and then the thing just lifts straight out. So now, one of the things that I do, paint the inside of this all satin black, so that you have a blacked out, that full blacked out housing look. So, got to get the adjuster out of the way so that we don't spray paint that thing shut. There's a little clip. You're going to just pull that thing out of there. There we go. That just pops out. And then you can just basically loosen the adjuster right out of that pocket. So, that arm on the inside, that you're threading it out of. There we go. Screw. Little adjuster arm. Now you've got a bare housing ready for spray paint. Now I'm going to go paint the insides of these housings, and this is the paint that I like to use for painting the insides of these plastic housings. It's designed to paint on plastic without primer. It says no sanding. Scuffing it up with a sanding sponge seems to make the paint lay a little flatter and adhere a little bit better, but having tried it without doing any sanding at all, on a clean surface, that seems to work pretty well also. So we have these housings back from being painted, and we're ready to do the reassembly. So I'm going to start with assembling the adjuster screws. So this block goes back in the same way it came out. The screw, it's pressed down inside, threaded into the adjuster arm. You want to make sure you just push that back down as far as it's supposed to go, and then this clip pops back into place. So the next step will be to put the Morimoto projector assembly into the housing. It's pretty easy. Some nice smooth guiding surfaces in there, and you want to make sure you've got the correct side. There's a larger opening here, fits on the old light opening, and the adjuster leg needs to pop into the adjuster. So just put it over top of it, basically just press the thing down until it pops into place. The adjuster leg, just push back into the adjuster. So now we need to fish these wires back out through the opening. Alright, so now that you've got the wire pulled through, you want to put the grommet into place. And make sure you notice that this grommet will turn counterclockwise on one of the housings and clockwise on the other one. And you may need a pair of pliers to rotate it just that last little bit. There we go. before you actually attach the connector, you want to make sure you get your heat shrink tubing in place. After you get the lenses glued back into place, that's what the finished product looks like. For the connector, you can see with the little tab pointed down, the red wire is on that side. If you need to adjust the aim of the light, it's a 7mm hex socket, so you'll want a 7mm Allen key. Passes right through the hole in the bumper, and rotate that to raise or lower the light.